everyone. Welcome to this free embodied reflections practice. My name is Ria. My pronouns are she or they. And I'm calling in today from the land of the Council of Three Fires, colonized at Chicago, Illinois. This is a practice with a format that I used to offer weekly at Tejal Yoga, and I'm really excited to be able to do it again. So for those of you who might not be familiar with the practice, we'll start with a bit of journaling on a prompt that I'll give. Then we'll have a 25-minute roughly asana practice. We'll come back to that journal entry. And then we'll share for those of us who are here on Zoom. And if you're watching the recording, you can just have that space to integrate on your own. So the theme for today's practice is around loosening the grip. So what does this mean? Non-attachment, detachment is a concept that comes up a lot in yoga. In the sutras, it's Vairagya. In the general sort of themes of letting go and releasing, this is something that comes up again and again. But detachment is not an easy process. It's not a one and done process. So what I'm interested in exploring with all of you is this gray area where we might know that this is perhaps a goal that we have, but we can't force detachment. And what does that internal process of beginning to let go, the very non-linear process, what might that look like? What might that feel like? So here is our journal prompt. I'll drop it in the chat. The journal prompt is to consider a situation in your life that you're experiencing now where you feel a sense of gripping and difficulty in releasing control. How might it feel to loosen that grip ever so slightly? How does trust in yourself, the world, and other people play a role in this process? So let's go ahead and I'll take about 10 minutes and I'll give you a warning when the time is coming to a close to just journal on this prompt. Let's take about 3 more minutes to write or sit or whatever it is you might be doing. All right, feel free to finish your thought or your sentence, but we will come back to exactly this prompt after our asana practice. So don't worry if there were some things that you didn't get to put down on the page or whatever format you're doing. All right, so we'll begin our asana practice for about 25 minutes. Please feel free to modify, adjust anything you may need. So I'll offer us some postures, but it's all invitational. So let's start by lying down. You're free to pick any posture of your choice, but I will invite us all to meet in Supta Baddha Konasana. So that's lying down, and the soles of your feet will be together, the knees apart in a butterfly shape. And then option, if you have blocks or pillows to support your thighs, that could be a nice supported version of the shape. So feel free to make your way there if you want blankets, pillows, anything else that may make this more comfortable. We'll do a little bit of pranayama to start. So we'll be here for a bit. And as you settle in, I'll invite you to just begin by being present with the natural flow of your breath at this time. Before we do anything to shift it, just tuning in to the current rhythm, how it is, knowing that there's no right or wrong, simply qualities that can serve as important data of our present embodied state. The texture of the breath, whether it feels on the smoother side, maybe on the more interrupted side. The temperature of your inhale as it enters through your nose, perhaps compared with the exhale. Noticing any physical sensations that may be present here, whether it's tension, discomfort, comfort, lying down, whatever it may be. Just drawing your attention there. And I'll invite us to extend our arms a little bit further away from the body, so the arms form more of a T shape. And then flip your palms upward to face the ceiling. Gently open up your fingers so your hands are sort of ready to receive. And go ahead and start to deepen the rhythm of your breath here. Maybe the exhale for the next few rounds might be a sigh at the mouth, if that feels good for you. And I'll invite you to focus on the wave of the breath. When you inhale, first filling the chest, then the ribs, and then finally the belly, all the way to the low abdomen below the navel. And then when you exhale, first releasing the breath from that low belly, then the ribs, and then the chest, all the way up to the collarbones. So there's an undulating wave-like motion on both ends of the breath. And just continue this with a rhythm that feels deeper, fuller, perhaps approaching the edge of your breath capacity without straining. Just continue like this. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, there's a line, Abhyasa Vairagya Bhyatan Nirodha. And the translation, at least in one of the editions of this, is that both practice and non-reaction, or an iteration of non-attachment, are required to still the patterning of consciousness. As we move through our practice today, I'll invite us to gently reframe this notion of Vairagya. Rather than detachment, non-reaction, let's play with moving to compassionate reaction. It's okay to react. It's okay to want. It's okay to have that sense of gripping. And it's okay that it's hard to release control. In this practice, we'll just try to move into more of a witness position where we can offer compassion and safety in this process of beginning to slightly loosen the grip, knowing that it's okay to not let go. Take a few more rounds of this breath here, maybe slowing down just by one count on each end. Feeling the breath pass into the nasal passages, down the throat and the lungs, really sensing that descent into the low belly. And then with the exhale, really challenging yourself to find a complete exhalation. May take a little bit more time, a little bit more effort to briefly touch empty before beginning again. Just take another round or so here. When you've completed that round, go ahead and start to bring your thighs together. Place your feet on the floor if you were in Baddha Konasana. And you might do a short spinal twist to one side, letting the knees fall to one side. Or maybe you just draw your knees into the chest, rock side to side. Just marking a bit of transition before we get into a little more movement here. And then we'll all make our way to a tabletop position. Take your time getting there. Eventually, you'll stack your wrists right underneath your shoulders, your knees right under the hips. Aiming for a flat back such that the back of your neck is also quite long. Just going for one firm line down the spine, spreading your palms and fingers wide, reducing the amount of space between your palms and the floor. Maybe starting with some circles with the hips, or maybe going straight into cat and cow. With an inhale, drop your belly, pull your shoulder blades back, gaze up. And with an exhale, follow the duration of your breath as your gaze comes down, back rounds, gazing to the thighs. Synchronizing as much as you can the pacing of your breath with the pacing of your spine's motion. And it'll look different for each of us, just honoring the rhythm that comes to you that feels nourishing and aligned. Nice. We'll thread the needle now. So with an inhale, sweep your right arm up to the ceiling. Gaze lifts, turn the chest. Take another round of breath here. And then with an exhale, thread the right arm all the way underneath the left, bringing your head down to the mat. And rather than your ear, see if you can bring more of the back of your skull to the mat, using your left hand to help you do that. And then maybe extending the right arm a little more towards the right. Breathe here. Finding again that same deep flow of breath, noticing sensation, noticing how the breath might move differently when you're in this shape. One more inhale. With an exhale, unwind, come back to center. When you're ready, take the other side. Inhale, sweep the left arm overhead. Stay for a round of breath as you press down through the right palm and turn the chest further up towards the ceiling. And then on an exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right. Bring that head down to the floor, using your right hand to maybe turn your head a little bit further so the back of your skull is on the ground. And then when you're there, you might even draw your left arm a little bit further out to the left. Taking a couple rounds of breath there, just like that. Noticing sensation on this side, how it might be similar or different from the previous side. And on your next exhale, or whenever you feel ready, just come back to your tabletop position. Option here, spin the left fingers all the way out to the left so that your fingers are pointing towards the back of your space. Same thing with the right hand, or you can also have the fingers pointing out sideways. And just a couple more rounds of cat and cow here. Introducing a bit of sensation opening in the forearms. And maybe playing with slowly rocking back, hips towards the heels. Just a very slow, small motion. Noticing how the sensation shifts with that. Very nice. When you're ready, spin your fingers back to face the front, tuck your toes, and we'll sit back any amount towards the heels. So you might keep your hands on the ground, or maybe you come up to sit in a sort of Vajrasana kneeling position, but with the toes tucked. Opening up the soles of your feet, pulling those shoulder blades up, back and down. Take a big breath in, a full exhale out. And then we'll make our way to a plank position. Stepping the hands slightly forward of your shoulders. Stepping back with the feet, holding there for a round of breath or so. One long line from the top of your head down to the heels. You can always drop the knees. Take one more inhale here. And then on an exhale, downward facing dog. Shift the hips up, back, and down. Very nice. Maybe pedaling out the feet, doing whatever it is you need to do to get settled in your downward dog. Eventually coming to a bit of stillness here in the down dog, lifting the hips any amount further, drawing those heels towards the ground, whether or not they touch. Very nice. And then on an inhale, extend the right leg straight up and back behind you for three-legged dog. You might choose to keep the right leg straight back, or you open up the hip, maybe bending the leg. Take another inhale there. And then on an exhale, bring the right foot in between your hands. We're coming to warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. Dialing the back foot down, keeping a bend in this front leg, and you might need to adjust the width of your feet, making any adjustments there before coming up and raising your arms overhead for warrior one. Spinning both points of your hips to face forward rather than turning towards the side. Shifting your arms back any amount of space so that your biceps are more or less by your ears here. Maybe looking up at your palms, maybe finding a prayer position with the hands, feeling your lower body really steady you here. Let yourself ground your weight into each foot, more or less equally, and just trust that your lower body can hold yourself here so that the upper body maybe feels a bit of lightness and reach as the arms grow taller and taller. Bring the palms together and in front of the heart. Take one more breath here. On exhale, bring the hands down. You can do a low push-up, up dog, down dog, or maybe you move straight to downward facing dog. Of course, child's pose is always here as an option at any point. Just take a couple of rounds of breath before we move to the second side. Maybe noticing, how does the right leg feel? How does the left leg feel? What other sensations can you notice here? When you're ready, we'll take the second side. Lift the left leg straight back. Option, open out that hip, bend the leg. Lifting the leg any amount higher, maybe feeling the glute activate. Inhale, and then on an exhale, place that left foot in between your hands. Dial the back foot down as you come up. Feel free to make any adjustments with the distance of your feet, the width, anything that you may need. And then descend the hips more and more. Rather than focusing on the bend of the front leg, focus on drawing your hip down with both hip points facing straight forward. And when you're ready, bring the arms up. Biceps will be by your ears. Really straightening out that back leg so it's all the way straight as your hips descend. Shifting your biceps back in space any amount. Finding that weight, that grounding through both feet so that the upper body can lift and spread. As your arms activate and they're pointing all the way up, see if you can find a little bit of lightness in the chest. As your shoulder blades draw back and the chest and heart open up towards the ceiling, gaze lifts. Take another full round of breath here, just like that, maybe reaching just a little bit higher. Bring the palms together, palms in front of the chest. Big breath in. On an exhale, plant the palms, either take that flow or come back to downward facing dog. Reset in your down dog for a round of breath or two. And then we'll all meet back in a tabletop position, dropping your knees down to the floor. Very nice. And we'll set up here for Anjaneyasana, stepping the right foot forward, finding our low lunge position. You might have blocks to support you here, or you might come all the way upright, placing your hands on your thighs. Wherever you are, shifting the hips all the way forward. Same thing we did with warrior one, lifting your arms high all the way up. As the biceps go back, the shoulders drop down. Opening up towards the sky, maybe lifting the gaze once more, feeling the sensation of the lower body, squaring the hips towards the front, just like we did earlier. One more breath in, reaching taller and taller. With an exhale, place the palms together, bring them in front of the heart. One more deep breath in through the nose here. And on an exhale, twist towards the right. You may stay upright or you may hook the left elbow outside the right thigh as you twist. Your choice. Stay for a couple rounds of breath here, with each inhale growing the spine longer, with each exhale turning the chest more and more towards the ceiling. Think the threaded needle we did. It's less about the side and it's more about turning, so it's as though the back of your head, the back of your body, we're moving towards the floor, heart lifting to the ceiling. Inhale here. And with an exhale, come back, reset in the middle. You might shift back and forth here, maybe flexing the foot, toes towards your face, and then just coming back, moving at the rhythm of your own breath if this feels welcome to you. And then you'll place both hands inside the right foot, toe heel that right foot out to the right. You may want to come onto the outside edge of this right foot, so your leg opens out more to the right, or you can stay here and take any variation of lizard pose. So you might stay right here. You might want to try putting your forearms down, one forearm, both forearms, using blocks or the floor, whatever feels accessible and good for you in this moment. Nice. And slowly release that. Come back to a tabletop. Step back into a plank. And take downward facing dog. Drawing those heels back and down, letting the arms grow longer. As the hips grow higher, the spine has more space to decompress. Then we're ready, just tap the knees back down, and we'll do that on the other side. Left foot steps forward. Hips move forward in space. Inhale to lift both arms, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Biceps move back in space, shoulders down. Continuing to shift forward, forward, forward in the hips, feeling the grounding from the bottom of the left foot and the top of the right shin and the top of the right foot. Ground down firmly through the lower body so the upper body lifts. Chest lifts, gaze lifts. Bring the palms together, breathe in. Exhale, bring the hands in front of the heart. Take one more inhale when you get there. And on an exhale, we'll take this twist on the other side, maybe hooking that right elbow outside the left thigh, or you stay upright. Once again, with each inhale, the spine grows longer. And with every exhale, the heart turns more upwards towards the sky. Take another deep, full breath in through the nose. Take your time with it. As you exhale, come back to the center. We'll find our lizard shape here. Hands inside the left foot. Toe heel the foot out any amount, maybe coming onto the edge of that left foot so the knee and groin opens. Maybe you play with coming down on the forearms, or you stay where you are. Just a couple of breaths here. Very nice. Bring that leg back. Shift your blocks off to the side. From tabletop, we'll come to a plank position. Option to drop your knees to the mat. And then with an exhale, just bring yourself all the way down onto the ground. So you're on the belly now. And we'll do a couple of back bends here. You can take a back bend of your choice. There's Sphinx pose with the forearms on the ground. There's Cobra. I'll offer Locust one round and Bow one round. So if you're with me, you can go ahead and interlace your fingers behind your back. Straighten out your arms behind you so the shoulders come off the mat. And then with a breath in, lift the lower body off the mat. Lift the upper body higher. So everything's off the ground. Breathe here.
using the back body to lift you. Take one more breath in, keep the upper body up, drop the legs down. Let the hands come under the shoulders so you're in a low cobra. Take one more breath in, and then exhale, release all the way down to the mat. Finding your breath here, noticing the breath in the back of the body. My invitation for the next round, whatever shape you're in, is to find yourself there and then let yourself just be in the shape. Of course, there's a need to stay actively focused to keep ourselves there, but try to eliminate the mental content and just let yourself hold the shape when you reach. So if you're with me for bow, bend the legs, reach back for the ankles or the foot. And then same thing with an inhale, everything will come off the mat, pushing the feet into the hands, raising higher and higher. I'm going to release this because I can't talk and do that at the same time, but you stay there. Just letting yourself hold the shape, pressing your feet back, lifting through the back body, shoulder blades coming closer, and the heart lifts higher. Feel whatever sensations are present, and if any thoughts arise, acknowledge them and ground back into the physical experience, whatever you might be feeling. And just take one more full inhale, keep the breath moving, and then as you exhale, release it. Come all the way back down. Maybe placing your forehead on top of your stacked hands here. Let your breath come back. And we'll stay low. I'll just invite us to press up into child's pose. So press yourself up, knees wide, big toes touch, and just let your hips come towards your heels, your arms forward, and your forehead down on the mat. Before we come into our mini shavasana, I'll invite you to take any closing shape that you wish. Maybe you stay in child's pose, maybe you make your way to the back for happy baby. Maybe you take an active back bend like wheel, Baddha Konasana, returning to the butterfly, whatever you wish. Just feeling out what may feel good in your body, in your system, and just take a minute or so to go there. Wherever you are, slow the rhythm of your breath here. Especially the exhale, just really take your time. Let it fully release. Take a couple more rounds of breath where you are. And then slowly, as you're ready, make your way to Shavasana. It could be lying down, maybe you take your legs up, elevate them, whatever shape you'd like for Shavasana. As you either close your eyes or soften your gaze, I invite you to just become present with the current somatic experience in your body. Whatever physical sensations might be there, whatever subtler emotional or energetic motions you might sense.
If thoughts pass by, just let them be there and then slowly drift away, using your exhale to just let them pass. Feeling the parts of the body that are in contact with the earth, letting them melt deeper, feeling that support underneath you. When you feel ready, place a hand on your chest, a hand on your low belly. Just take one more full, very deep inhale here. Take your time. Let a sigh come out the mouth. One more, just like that. Deep breath in. Exhale, sigh out the mouth. Let something clear release from your system. Bring your hands together, rubbing your palms, feeling some warmth between them. Place your palms over your closed eyes and just very softly blink your eyes open into the darkness of your palms as we start to transition out of this phase of practice. Let your hands just slide down your face. Maybe give yourself a hug. And we'll transition to the next phase of this practice, which is to return to our reflection. So take your time as you transition out of this shavasana and come back either to your meditative seat, your journal, whatever reflection you began with. We'll take about 6 minutes or so. And the intention here is to continue your entry, but integrating any somatic responses that may have come up during this practice. If there were moments where you felt a parallel sense of gripping, attaching, could be a very physical thing, it could be something more mental or emotional. However, this resonates with you, to continue this thought process in the context of your practice just now. Take 2 more minutes or so here. As you start to wrap up, of course, you can always return to this after this practice is over, and I hope that you do. Just to briefly return how we started, reframing non-reaction and detachment to compassionate reaction and witnessing. Vairagya requires a process of consistent practice and effort so that ultimately, when some form of release does occur, it's not because we willed it to happen, because we forced it to happen. It's because we opened ourselves to the possibility of gradual release and showed up consistently over a long period of time. So that detachment is less something that we actively do. I would argue that it's something that we actually can't do actively. These more subtler embodied processes in many ways open up mechanisms that we can't necessarily see for that to unfold. So I'll just invite us in our practice as we sort of continue off and do our own practices, whatever that looks like for you in the next several weeks, to just notice these themes of self-trust, trusting in the world around you and other people, how that relates to compassion in your own process of loosening. Thank you so much for being here. If you're here on Zoom, we'll stay for a bit longer to reflect. And if you're watching this recording, I'll invite you to just look back over what you wrote. And that can be a very nice form of reflection as well, especially to just revisit the first section versus the second section. Thank you all so much. I hope to see you in a subsequent class. I'm covering a philosophy meditation on Friday. But otherwise, I hope to see you elsewhere as well. Thank you for joining.